Greetings. Welcome to EDTV News Channel, the People's Channel. In this report, we have a few stories for talk about. Some shootings and some dropouts coming out of the nation capital, Kingston, St. Andrew, Westmoreland, St. Catherine, and St. James. Stay tuned for the full reports. Blessings to all subscribers and viewers. If you're here for the first time, you can support the channel by like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. So we'll start off in the nation capital. Man shot and taken out after reportedly trying to disarm a cop. So we'll get into the latest police report. A man was shot and taken out by the police and a firearm seized during an incident at a gully along Content Avenue, Kingston 10 on Saturday. Up to press time Sunday morning, the dropout man was still unidentified. Reports are that about 12:05 p.m., police were on patrol in Content Avenue area when they observed two men who saw the service vehicle and ran. The police gave chase and accosted one of them. One of the cops searched the now deceased and found a 9mm Smith & Wesson firearm in his waistband. The man the police reported attempted to disarm the cop when one of the other lawmen, in fear for his life and that of his colleague, opened gunfire to neutralize the threat. The man was shot, injured, and taken to the Kingston Public Hospital, where doctors pronounced him you-know-what upon arrival. None of the cops were hurt during the incident, the police said. Now, people, we'll move to the parish of St. Andrew. Man shot and taken out in rural St. Andrew. So we'll get into the report. A 32-year-old resident of Fern Hill Lawrence Tavern in St. Andrew was shot and taken out at a bar in the nearby community of Grant Hill on Saturday night. The deceased has been identified as O'Shane Blackwood. It is reported that Blackwood was at the bar about 9:30 p.m. when he was shot and taken out by unknown assailants who escaped. No motive has been established for the dropout. The Lawrence Tavern police are investigating. Now, we'll move on, this time to the parish of St. Mary. Man taken out after he went to buy sugar. So we'll get into the report. A 47-year-old painter of Gale in St. Mary was shot and taken out after he left his home to purchase sugar. The incident took place on Friday, June 28 around 8 p.m. Dropout is Courtney Stone White of Top Pen in the community. Reports are that White was visiting his child's mother in Miles Gully, Gale, when he told her he wanted cornflakes. Realizing that there was no sugar, White left to purchase the item at a nearby shop, driving a vehicle belonging to his niece. Upon his return from the shop, several gunshots were reportedly heard. Residents investigated and found White's body lying on the ground beside the motor vehicle. The police were summoned and it was discovered that the deceased had several gunshot wounds to the upper body head area. 9 spent casings were found close to the crime scene. The St. Mary Criminal Investigation Bureau is investigating. Now, people, we'll move on, this time to the parish of St. Catherine. Man taken out in Commodore District. A male resident of Commodore District in St. Catherine was fatally shot on Sunday. He has been now identified as 35-year-old laborer Christopher Graham. The police report that about 10:40 p.m., residents heard explosion and called the cops. A team responded, discovered Graham suffering from gunshot wounds. He was later pronounced dropout at Linstead Public Hospital. No motive has been established for the dropout. Now, people, still in the parish of St. Catherine. Man attacked while asleep in Bagwag home. A 41-year-old construction worker remains hospitalized in serious condition after being shot by unknown assailant early Sunday morning while asleep at his home in Bagwag, St. Catherine. It is reported that about 4:10 a.m., the man was in bed when he was awoken by a loud explosion. He then realized that he had injuries to his head, back, and one of his legs. He ran from his dwelling and sought refuge and later summoned the police. The victim was assisted to the Linstead Public Hospital where he admitted in serious condition. The Bagwag police are investigating the incident. Now, people, we'll move on. This time to the parish of Westmoreland, where a man named Brains was shot over 20 times. So we'll get into the report. The Grangean police in Westmoreland are investigating the dropout of a man who was gunned down in clear view of his family members on Mint Road in Grangean, Westmoreland on Friday. The victim has now been identified as 35-year-old Jason Reed, also known as Brains or Mango Head, of Mint Road, Grange Hill in Westmoreland. Reports indicate that around 9:15 p.m., Reed was sitting inside his home when two men armed with high-powered rifles forced their way inside. The men opened gunfire, hitting Reed over 20 times before leaving the house. The police were summoned, and upon arrival, they found Reed lying in a pool of red water with multiple gunshot wounds. The scene was processed and the body was removed to the morgue for a post-mortem examination. Investigators believe that Reed was taken out as a reprisal for the dropout of another man who was shot and taken out in Grange Hill on Wednesday. Now, people, we'll move on. This time to the parish of St. James. And this one have fish all over it. This look fishy. Rastafarian John Morris found dropout in bed in St. James. The Mount Salem police in St. James are awaiting the result of a post-mortem examination to determine the cause of the dropout of a Rastafarian man found at his home on Friday with his underpants partially pulled down. The deceased has now been identified as John Morris, a resident of rented house on Clark Street in Mount Salem, St. James. According to reports, Morris was last seen alive at his home around 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Concern arose when he was neither seen nor heard from on Thursday. His landlord, worried about his absence, decided to check on him on Friday and discovered him lying motionless in his bed. The police were summoned, and upon arrival, they found Morris lying face down with his underpants pulled down from his waist, exposing his buttocks. The scene was processed and Morris' body was removed to the morgue for a post-mortem examination to ascertain the cause of dropout. The investigation continues as authorities await further information. Sound fishy, people. Now, people, last but not least, we'll move back to the nation capital. Nannyville double dropout, possible link to reputed Mountain View dance dropout. So we'll get into the report. A double dropout in Nannyville, St. Andrew on Monday may have been a reprisal for the dropout of an alleged Dan on Mountain View Avenue more than a week earlier. Information reaching the news media is that at least one of the men taken out in the double dropout was said to be involved in the June 11, 2024 dropout of 34-year-old Kemar Williams, otherwise called Dangles, from Chavez Avenue, Kingston 3. Williams was shot and taken out while driving a vehicle along Mountain Avenue. Reports were that about 2:05 p.m. he was headed along the roadway when he was pounced upon by two gunmen traveling on a motorcycle who opened gunfire, hitting him several times. 13 days later, two men, 34-year-old Demar Pink of Grand Ridge Park and 25-year-old Stephan Wallace of Abeng Way, both in Nannyville, were shot and taken out and another man injured during a gun attack. It was reported that around 9:30 p.m. residents heard loud explosion and summoned the police. Upon their arrival, both men were seen with gunshot wounds to the upper body head area. They were assisted to the hospital where Pink and Wallace were pronounced you-know-what. The other man was admitted for treatment. The police told the news media they are looking at several leads into the double dropout, including that the men may have been taken out as a reprisal for Williams' dropout. So there you have it, people. Please leave your comments in the comment section and tell me what to think. One aim, one God, one destiny. Walk good, talk good, live good. Blessings.